Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Welcome. I am so glad that you're joining me today. I woke up this morning and I had this phrase screaming in my head. You are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Well, guess what we're talking about today? Welcome. My name is Deborah O'Neill. I'm the CEO and founder of BlissB.me Integrative Holistic Health. I'm here to share because I care. So thank you for being here. You are not your thoughts. I am not my thoughts. Basically, this is the work that we've been doing this whole time. And by the way, we are on episode 99. Be with me tomorrow when we open up into episode 100. Truth bumps. I don't know if you could. Anyways, such joy, such joy. So when we say I am not my thoughts, what comes up for you? Now that you've been on this journey, what comes up for you? Is that your truth? Yeah, it is. It is our truth. We get 44 trillion thoughts going through our head per second. Per second. And unfortunately, in this time, unfortunately, this time is a high stimulation. So we've got advertising and marketing and phones on our hands. Majority of people now have more than one phone. Isn't that incredible? Oh my goodness, I can't even manage one phone, never mind two. Some people have 2 phones, 3 phones, one for their personal, one for their work, one for whatever else they might be doing in their life. And then we've got televisions. We've got televisions and our phones are now televisions, and our computers are now televisions. We've got iPhone watches, we've got tablets, we've got you name it. We've got internet everywhere. We're inundated with not only the thoughts that we've downloaded in our lifetime and previous lifetimes, but we're being inundated with thoughts that other people are thinking. Just take a walk down, the main road in New York City. I guess or I've been to China. It's just like Hong Kong. It's like, oh my goodness. You're not your thoughts. And part of what we're doing here, what we're trying to do, is create that habit to learn that we are not our thoughts. It's all about calming, brain training, pretty much. Brain training, be that consciousness, that awareness. So the thing is, when you get a thought and it comes in and you can feel your irritant level coming on, you can feel something stirring inside of you. You can feel that point of reference that that, this isn't sitting well with me, or this is irritating me, or I have some sense of control around this, or I want some sense of control around this. So this thought that comes in, it's like when I see someone throw, sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and somebody's throwing a McDonald's bag out on the road. And it's like, okay, who am I? I go out, I pick it up to clean up the neighborhood so that my visual aesthetic view of the road isn't altered by this piece of fast food garbage that's laying out there. And all the thoughts that come with that, all the thoughts, who threw that out? Oh, kids today, oh, blah, blah, blah. All these thoughts start going in, and I have now this train wreck of thoughts. All by myself, creating my own reality. And then it's my ability, your ability to catch that and go, wow, okay, let's time out. And how do we practice that time out? When we notice something, when we notice that, we become aware that something isn't sitting well with us. We're gonna go down that rabbit hole, or we're gonna potentially be in the space where we're gonna say something that we may often regret. And do we want to live a life of regrets? Because that's a whole nother thought. So this is the practice, the gentleness of being with ourselves, yourself. And when we get one of those thoughts, even as something as noticing garbage, or what's going on in the world, put your hand, go back into this practice that we've been doing. Put your hand where you feel that. Put your hand where you feel that. Now, all of a sudden, you're bringing yourself back into the present moment. You're bringing yourself back. And you're engaging. We've got a chakra plexus, and we've got a chakra in our hand to our heart plexus. And it's comforting, even just the warmth of your body, your hand, to that place on your body. That's feeling, sensing that thought. Because now we can go, and now that we bring in on that present moment, now we can go, wow, and take a breath to it. We go into that felt sense, right? And we don't need to go into another thought and say, what's going on here? We can go into saying, I'm here, I'm listening. In this present moment, I'm listening. What do you need? What do you need? What color are you? Breathing, and just now it will become just like automatically taking a breath to this spot. This is where the habit comes in. So now you'll automatically just take a nice deep breath to this spot. And what do you want to think instead? Or just letting this go, letting it go. Not what do you want to think instead. Then we go back into thinking, just letting it go and finding the peace of this moment and stilling, bring stillness to that chaos in the mind. You are not your thought. You are not your thought. Especially that extended thought, that thought that keeps going on and on and on and on. And then when it doesn't stop, we find somebody that we can tell that thought to, and then that thought continues on and on. Let's find the thought. Be aware of the thought and know that you are not your thoughts. And creating the habit of stopping that loop, that loop that keeps on giving. Not necessarily in the best way. And then we've got the proof. We're now putting our hand to the place on our body, letting the body know that we're here and we're present, we're listening. Helps to then start the regulation. And we can go into that regulating with our feet, or we can go into that rocking. We can go into that paying attention, breathing in that deep diaphragmatic breath, right? To engage in that. Along our journey from birth, pre-birth, to wherever we are now, it's a compilation, right? It's all the obstacles and difficulties that we've endured, that we've experienced, the traumas, that we suffer as children, as adults, the vicarious trauma that we experience just watching a movie or the news. And the lack of consciousness that we operate from in our day in and our day out. The blind spots that are created. Series after series of blind spots. Operating from this place of truth, of consciousness, when we are walking around unconscious a lot of the time, the majority of the time, 95% of the time. So recognizing when we get into that loop, it's quite simple. There's three things if we take it down to, if we want to give it 1, 2, 3. 1, we acknowledge, we become aware of the thought. We go, okay, something's going on in my body. What is my thought? What am I thinking right now? What am I thinking? Step back. Go in for the insight. Step back, pull back. Invite yourself to step back. And then acknowledge. Acknowledge in the body that something is feeling different. It's certainly not a feeling of joy. But even to be aware of what does create joy for you so that you can create more of that. But for now, we're working with those thoughts that are sort of debilitating us. Or at the very least, having us have a reaction that isn't true for ourselves, or something that we don't want to be true for ourselves. That's something that we would like to, now gives us an opportunity to make a different decision, to enlighten ourselves into what's really going on. And then working with it. And then working with it, not ignoring it. We're not going to be unconscious. Once we know what's going on, once we know that there is something going on, we can't say that we don't know. This is where the maturity has to step in. This is where we get to reparent, relearn, remember, become. Not change, become. Become that person that we are inherently inside as a divine being, as somebody that we operate from love, calling in the love. What would love do here? How would I talk to myself? Even this morning, I caught myself in a string of stuff. I opened up the curtains. I have this beautiful white rose bush that was gifted to me by a team that I'm a part of, a business team, and it's like blossoming into my living room. These beautiful white, massive white rose blooms. And last night when I was closing the curtains, I thought, I should go out and take a picture of them. And I was like, I'm just tired. I'll do it tomorrow morning or whatever in the sunlight of the morning. Well, it's raining. And I open the curtains and all the blooms have lost their petals from the weight of the rain. I instantly went to, Deborah, you should have taken pictures yesterday. Like, were you just being lazy? And I caught myself in this loop. Now you don't have the pictures to share with the team to show them how nice the blooms are, blah, 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 blah. I had to sit down and catch myself and be gentle with myself. Sometimes insert the magic chuckle, as a dear friend of mine, Arlene, would say. Just insert that magic chuckle and go, oh my goodness, how am I getting caught up in this? Go have a beautiful cup of tea and prepare for 8:45. That was as early as 30 minutes ago. So it is a process and it's a journey. It's a journey. So if I were to beat myself up and not recognize my shoulds, you should do this, you should do this, you could do this. Where is that showing up in your life? Where is that showing up in your life? And how much energy is it taking? Like, holy, that was an energy vampire thought this morning. That was just sucking me. If I would have let that loop continue on, I would have come down here and been like, oh my gosh. And then I share that energy with you. Or my daughter would wake up and I would be in that doldrum energy going, I'm a failure. I didn't take a picture of, those rose blooms. That's the link. That's the trigger. And that's triggering back somewhere in my earliest point. If I was with Gabor Mate, Dr. Mate, he would say, where in your, when was your earliest recollection of having that feeling? When was the first time that you felt like this? Something over rose blooms. When was the first time? And did you tell somebody? Did you tell somebody that this wasn't okay? That you're not comfortable with this? And if you didn't tell somebody, why not? So then what's become embedded? What a part of me was lazy by not not going out and doing it last night, and I should have done it, and now look at your results. Look at your results. Now you don't have that opportunity. Now the opportunity is gone. You see you see how, and I'm talking rose blooms here, but you see where you can catch that loop. You can catch that loop. You can take it to, raising a child. A child is in that place of, being down, and you're an empath. Now, all of a sudden, you're taking on your child's feeling downness in the way that you comfort. Now you want to take that sensation from that child, and you'll carry it because you're bigger. You're the mom. You're the parent. You're going to take it, and that's what you do because you're an empath, and you don't even realize that you do it. Now there's two of you. Now what about everybody else in the household? How are we supporting everybody else in the household? What if the other person isn't an empath? What if they are an empath? What if the other child is an empath as well? All of a sudden, all three of you are in this loop. So we are not our thoughts. The bottom line, we are not our thoughts. So let's just catch them. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Look at me. 1, 2, 3. Look at me. 1, 2, 3. Look at me. Make it fun, right? Because we've got so much of this work to do that it's like, yay, caught another one. Yay, caught another one. At the end of the day, recap how many thought patterns you caught and celebrate it. Put it in your gratitude journal. Recall it, saying, wow. Don't go back into the story though. Yay. And every step of the way, it is yay. And each piece that we unfold in this lotus, right? This 1,000-petal lotus, each petal that we unfold is even more energy. It's more joy. It's more joy. Let's go into our grounding and centering and aligning this morning. And as you let go of those thoughts, you may experience a little grief because the thoughts have been around for a while. You might feel a little part of you wanting to hang on, that ego that says, what? You can't do that. You can't let go of this. Who do you think you are? You're not all that in a bag of chips. Oh, yes, you are. You are all that in a bag of chips. Prove yourself right. Some of the oils that I find that help with this is cypress and myrrh. Cypress. Think of a cypress tree, right? A cypress tree is tall and strong and straight, and it grows up. It's often outside of castles and lines important places, and it has like this flavor of knowing. This flavor of knowing that that steadfastness, that alignment, and its roots are in the ground. So this is where we're going with this grounding and centering and aligning. We might want to think of being a cypress tree that can let go. I was recently online with one of my teachers for the essential oils, and she calls this the return, the inhibitor of death. It allows us to remember how to die. So in life, everything in our body, our cells are always dying and rebirthing and dying and rebirthing. It's a natural. In the fall, the trees lose their leaves. It goes back into the earth. They come back in the spring. They bloom. Flowers die, but yet they rebloom. So when we think of death, it's just not thinking about it as our death as we know it as a human, where we leave, our spirit leaves our body. But it's part of that grasping, that patterning, where we're grasping onto those thoughts because we think those thoughts are our thoughts. We think that that's our truth. And this can be part of the process of helping us to let go. Letting go of those old patterns of being that we got stuck in and going, wow, I can't believe I'm on autopilot with that. That's in the loop. We're creating new loops, new highways, new grooves. So it's something that can help us to remember how to die. Let those pieces of us die off. And give it the respect and the burial that it needs. You know, with all due respect, I don't need you anymore. And invite in the freedom from that thought. It's completing the cycle. That piece of me is now complete. A lot of times in the third dimension, it's like the saying is, I'm complete with creating chaos. I am creating my own chaos, and I am complete with creating chaos. I'm committed to creating love and locking that in. Locking that in. Let's bring our imagination to our feet as we allowed for our grounding, centering, and aligning those tree roots of that cypress tree. Or any tree that you wish at this time. Or if it's just even an etheric line that you're creating down to that central core of the earth, and allow it that superhighway. That superhighway down to the central core of the earth. Wrap it around and allow that earth energy to come up that superhighway into the bottom of your feet. Can you feel it in your legs already? Is it engaging faster now? And if not, that's okay. Feel it balanced coming up your legs, into the knees and the thighs and the hips. Put your hand on your lower abdomen. Engage that deep diaphragmatic breath as we breathe in, allow it to expand out into the side ribs and the back. And allow that exhale, letting go of all that does not serve you. Breathing up into the lungs and over the shoulders, down the arms to the hands. If you feel that there's something that's letting go, bring your hands, face them down, the fingertips down to the earth. And with gratitude, release it into the earth. Ask Mother Earth to take this, to transmute it, to organically take these things that do not serve me, my highest, greatest good, or better, and let it go. And then when you're complete, say, I'm complete, and bring it back now. Come back up and continue to bring that Mother Earth energy up into your throat and into your head. Tap on your 1,000-petal lotus, your Sahasrara, and open that portal as Mother Earth energy comes down like a cascade, touching all the nerve endings of this large organ called our skin. And come into that centering place, that still point, as we continue to establish that hara line that you've created from the central core of the earth now in through the perineum, the spine, the head. Kind of lock into that place as we prepare to take this hara line up through the solar system, and past the universe, the galaxies, Milky Way, this fine line to God, divine source creator, ascended masters, guides, spirits, angels, archangels, the place of many names, higher self. Permission to receive that golden white light energy. And find that still point and receive. Are you noticing anything different today? Is it easier to engage, or do you find that you're more disengaged today? If you're more disengaged, then time to go back to the feet. Because you do not want to engage this line, this superhighway, unless you feel engaged in your grounding. And bring your attention to your breath as we engage the breath awareness Again, the deep diaphragmatic breath, feeling the coolness all on your nostrils and the warmth on your nostrils on the exhale. No noise, no jerk, no pause at the top. Beautiful, smooth return breath. And no judgment. As we begin to engage our Soham, we step away from the thoughts. We allow those thoughts to go on the train, the bubble. We do not engage. If you do have cypress in your, if you have essential oils or cypress is speaking to you, there's beautiful acupoints that you can use with the cypress. It's just sort of midpoint underneath the clavicle. Or also on the inner ankle. They're generally the kidney points if you follow the meridian system. The acupoints. Or you can simply put it in your hand and do just an inhalation. And if a thought does come up and you do happen to engage with it, bring yourself back to the breath. Or if you feel something in your body, just place your hand there. And breathe to that point with love and kindness and tenderness. So the difference here, thank you so much for sitting with me. The difference here is not only are we taking the knowledge and creating the awareness, we're also learning the actions in which to support you in creating your own toolkit of well-being. That overall well-being, that self, that self-healing, that embodying. It's embodying. It's our becoming attuned to our inner intelligence. Becoming attuned to our inner intelligence. My inner intelligence saved my life. I can't stress that enough. And probably we don't even realize how many times when we engage our inner intelligence, it does actually save our life. Or saves our relationships with ourself, source, creator, others. It allows us to walk in our own knowingness. How beautiful is that? Our truth of ourself, where we Deliciousness. Better than breakfast, lunch, or supper. What does the mother have to say for us today for an offering? Oh, which one? Skill. It is a skill. It truly is a skill. Skillful hands, precise care, sustained attention, and one compels matter to obey the spirit. Wow. Skillful hands, precise care, a sustained attention, and one compels matter to obey the spirit. Yes. Yes. Everyone should be taught the joy of doing well, whatever they do. Whether it is intellectual, artistic, or manual work, and above all, the dignity of all work, whatever it may be, when it is done with care and skill. Everyone should be taught the joy of doing well, whatever they do, whether it is intellectual, artistic, or manual work, and above all, the dignity of all the work, whatever it may be, when it is done with care and skill. Care and skill. So with skill, I would believe that would lead me to believe that that took some level of learning to find and create that skill for yourself. And this is repetitive learning, repetitive learning, repetitive learning, practice, practice, practice. Do it with care. I love you. Make it a great day. And please share and like and be here tomorrow for our 100th episode. Make it a great day.